Guys, this is Martina from Norwegian Dog Trainer. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that is close to my heart and close to many of you as well, which is dog signals, dog body language. It's something that we all see. We have dogs, we see it every day, but to a variable degree, we know what it means. I am not finished educating myself in this topic. There's a lot of signaling that I don't necessarily understand as well as I would like to. There's also a lot of signals that are very subtle, and some of them are too quick for our human eye to almost catch, since dogs can see far more frames per second than we can. They can catch all the subtle signals they're sending to each other that we can't necessarily detect. So this is a very, very interesting topic. It's very exciting. And today I want to share what I've learned so far on my journey with you. And I will try to show you some examples that you can, maybe you will get some new information that you don't necessarily know already. So let's do it, guys. I will share my screen with you first. Okay, so here's my presentation. I assume you can now see what I am seeing as the presentation. Yes. So what we want to know today is, what are common signals in dogs? Why do we need to know? And how can we use it when we communicate with our dogs throughout the day? That's also something that we will try to answer today. What is your dog trying to tell you? I don't know how many times me and my boyfriend have talked about what we would give just to have one day being able to talk to our dog. But at the same time, it's a bit frightening, because it's like, would he say nice things about us? Would he tell us how extremely annoying he finds it when I try to play with him and he doesn't really want to? Is he just exhausted because I took him on that long walk? Maybe he has some pain I haven't detected. Maybe he has poor sleep. Maybe he hates sardines. I don't know. But at the same time, I kind of do know, because I am listening and observing his body language. So let's see what we can find out about this topic. But first, a little bit about who I am. First and most important, I am best friends with an Italian greyhound called Faber. It means fabulous in Norwegian, or it also means a fable, like a story, like a fairy tale. I am a dog behaviorist trained with Turi Drugos, an international acclaimed dog trainer. And I trained at the Nordic Education Center for Ethical Dog Training in Norway, but it has lost the international membership and following, and trains dog trainers all over the world every year. I am a member of PTE, which is Pet Dog Trainers of Europe. It's an organization for all pet dog trainers, where we can come together and learn from each other, exchange knowledge, and ask questions, and just be inspired by all the work being done here in Europe. I am an aggression specialist. I studied 1 year aggression, all things aggression in dogs, with dog behavior specialist and veterinary Amber Batson. She's quite well known, at least in England, for having a vast knowledge of dog behavior and dog physiology, biology, anatomy, everything. She knows so much. I just finished a half-year-long course in separation anxiety with Julian A. Smith. So I am now a separation anxiety specialist. I also did a course in posture and gait analysis by Galen, My Therapy in England, and with the lovely Julia Robertson. I am not certified at the moment, because you have to take a test every year. Didn't do it this year. And so hopefully I will do the test next year again and be a certified posture and gait analysis. But I did the course, and I feel quite comfortable looking at dogs' posture and gaits and say something about why they walk and run and look the way that they do, and if there might be something else going on underneath. But that's for another webinar. That's not for today. I offer online consultations and live consultations in Bergen area in Norway. I also offer social walks in Bergen area. I have had few clients where I've done social walks kind of online, where they have walked their dogs and sent me up to half an hour long video with timestamps on it and asking me about problematic behavior that they have seen on the walks and ask me to sort of analyze and comment on it. And what it is that I'm commenting on is, of course, the dogs. Posture, gait, and body language. Close to my heart is dog nutrition. There are so many diseases and illnesses in dogs that could have been prevented or at least postponed with good dog nutrition. I do consultations about this. I'm not a dog nutritionist. I haven't specialized in it, but it's a field of interest to me. And I also know a lot about human nutrition, and I've taken that a step further to also apply for dogs. So if you need some help with dog nutrition, you can come and ask me. I will be happy to help you. And I also know enough to know when I can't help you anymore. So I will not give you false information. If I reach the limits of my knowledge, I will refer you on to people that I know are dog nutritionists that have even more experience in nutrition than I do. Arthritis in dogs, prevention and care is also something very close to my heart. I have a very small dog, 6 kilos, my father is, but still he has arthritis in his spine and in his joints. Many people are surprised by this because they think it's a big dog disease. Unfortunately, it is not. And even though my dog has gotten very good nutrition all his life, he still has arthritis, but it can, to some degree, be prevented with the right nutrition, but of course also with the right exercise, not too much, not too little, and also not too much high impact movements with dogs. This is something that I really, I'm always stressing this with my clients. So again, if you need help with figuring out how you can prevent arthritis or how you can care for your dog with arthritis, of course you have to see your vet, but additional information when it comes to behavior and how to do all the things you need to do in your everyday life, I'm here to help. Frida Golgo, the plight of the Spanish greyhounds is also something that I became aware of when I got a little greyhound myself. I'm not going to go into it further at this point, but I think it's such a shame that we, just a few countries away from us here in Norway, we have a situation where 10,000 and 10,000s of dogs are being tortured and killed every year for no reason whatsoever. Well, there's a reason, but it's not a good one. Anyway, that was me. I also left some email addresses and where you can find me online and Facebook and Instagram on the last slide, so you can look there when I am finished with my presentation. Let's begin first with the aggression ladder, from calming to distance-seeking signals. What do we mean by that? There are, like I said in the very beginning, it's a scale. It's not black and white. It's not either you're lip licking or you are biting someone. It's a scale, and today we're going to be focusing mostly on the area that is in the green box. That is the calming signal part of it. When you move on to the orange and the red, we are moving into distance-seeking signals, which is more when the dog has gotten enough, when the calming signals aren't enough, you're still not listening, then that's why we call it a ladder. Then the dog is starting to pile on and is starting to show more and more and more obvious signals for you or other dogs to really understand that he is serious and that you really need to stop doing what you're doing, or else something very bad is going to happen. Dogs are peacekeepers. They will always try to avoid conflict, because if they end up in a conflict, like a fight, they could be injured or even killed. So they have developed this very nuanced language of calming and distance-seeking signals, and they use it when they meet other dogs, other animals, humans, or even objects. It's not uncommon for dogs to be showing calming signals and trying to calm down objects that they are afraid of. They might bark at objects, they might arch around them in a distance in a curve to sort of avoid them. If they're a bit fearful, there are many ways that dogs will be showing calming signals on objects, which is a great way for you to try to figure out if your dog is a little bit fearful of something. You will probably arch around it. So we'll focus on whatever's in the green box, a little bit in the orange. Like I said, it's sort of floating, it's a scale, it's not black and white. Dogs, they use the signals differently, exactly the same way that we humans do, based on our previous experiences, how we feel in the moment, if we are hungry, if we're tired, if we're ill. Everything will affect how quickly you escalate on scale and what signals you're using. For instance, if I had a psychotic boss in my previous job, and in my new job, I have a colleague who had the best boss ever in the previous job, and we both had the same leader now in our current jobs, and the leader did something a bit strange or tried to, give us a command. You have to do this, you have to do that. Then I might give a very different reaction than my colleague, because I would remember all the shitty stuff that my previous psychopathic boss did to me, and I will try to protect myself. So I might get angry, I might get a bit dismissive because I don't like the way the boss is speaking to me. But my colleague who has no such experiences will maybe just like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. No, that's fine. And also maybe I didn't sleep that night, but my colleague got 8 hours rest. So there's a lot of different things that affect how we act in a certain situation. Humans are like this, and of course our dogs are the same. They just use a different language than what we do. Dogs use this language for something that is uncertain and perceived threats. And this behavior has as purpose to protect the dog from things they find threatening, and remember that they find threatening. So even if you don't, you might not perceive it as a threat whatsoever. Your dog might still think that this is a very dangerous situation and is trying to calm the situation by showing calming signals, or even escalate towards more distance-seeking signals that we often translate into dog aggression, right? So when we say, oh, your dog is so aggressive, your dog is barking, oh, it's so aggressive. Is it though? That's not really, well, it is aggression because he's trying to get away or get something away from him. But aggression is not like biting and killing. Aggression is also trying to get something away from you that you don't like, you're scared of. So what are dog calming signals? A little bit more about that. It is meant to be reducing stress. And what do I mean by that? It's meant to be something that alleviates stress in themselves. They can use it to calm themselves down, but dogs can also use calming signals to calm other things and people down. So if my dog is meeting a dog, barking it out, being a bit fearful, we move away from the situation and my dog is sort of shaking it off, my dog is trying to calm him down. If my dog is, lip licking or sniffing in the grass, I'll get back to all the signals later, then he might also be trying to calm me down or calm the other dog down. So it depends on the situation, but dogs will use it to themselves or to others. It's also to reduce conflicts and to tell other people, dogs, or items that I come in peace. Like I said, dogs are peace lovers. They will always try to resolve conflict peacefully. It's only if we don't listen and we push them beyond their limits that they will respond in a more escalated, aggressive manner. They use it for procrastination or avoiding or postponing uncomfortable situations. They use a lot of displacement behaviors that are calming signals. What does that look like? Well, if you ever had a dog who didn't really like to put on a harness and you move the harness towards them and the dog starts doing puppy bounce or play movements or backs away and does a little silly walk in the living room or walks in a circle, yawns and stretches and get back to you, that's a displacement behavior because it's uncomfortable, the dog doesn't really want to do it and is trying to sort of avoid it or postpone it. So that's something to be aware of. If you see that a lot in your dog is really trying to tell you that, I am not comfortable with this at all, but it's not the worst thing that ever happened, because if it was, your dog would have escalated further, right? But it doesn't mean we shouldn't be taking it seriously or that we should allow it to escalate further. Maybe you have to train a little bit, desensitization with a harness. Maybe you have to have a different harness. Maybe the harness is not good. Maybe it's not well fitted, as unfortunately so many harnesses are very poorly fitted. So maybe it hurts. Maybe it chokes on neck. Maybe it hits the shoulder bone in the wrong place. Maybe it doesn't allow for free movement of the shoulder, which is rotational, right? So maybe you have to look at some things if you see this type of displacement behaviors. It also means please stop what you're doing, because the dog might be experiencing some discomfort when you are doing something and the dog doesn't like it, and it's try to stop your behavior because it causes stress, fear, or pain. So he will show you these behaviors and maybe move over to you and try to stop you. So we'll get back to this also later, but you might want to consider, if you think about it as I talk now, have you ever had your dog, when you are stroking your dog, cuddling or something like that, and your dog is licking you on the arm or licking you on the face? Think about what that might mean, and we will get back to that a little bit later. So again, why do we need to learn about common signals in dogs? Firstly, and I know many people get a bit angry when I say this and find it controversial. I do not think it's controversial at all. Dogs are captive animals. Of course, you have some, I mean, if you have strays, you have free roaming dogs, you have village dogs that sort of don't belong to one family, they belong to the village, they come and go as they please. Maybe you have a hole in the door that allows your dog to go into the garden, but still, your dog can go into the garden, but can your dog go further than that? Can your dog at all times, every day of its life, choose what he wants to do? So if the answer is no, then well, you have a dog, you have an animal in captivity. That's what you do, right? Even if you don't use a cage, which is not good for dogs at all. So even if you don't use a cage or crate, as many people call it, your dog is still a captive animal when you have him in your house and you decide when he eats, you decide when you go outside, you decide mostly when you go to sleep. Of course, your dog can sleep, even though you don't say so. You decide most of the things that will decide what sort of life your dog has. So they are captive animals. They have limited autonomy and freedom, which also is a sign of a captive animal. And we must be aware of our actions because we have the full responsibility for everything that goes on in our dog's life. We have the power to decide if they have a good life, if they have a poor life, if they are scared, frightened, stressed at all times, or if they are relaxed and happy and feel listened to and understood. And this is very important in our daily life with our dogs, and it's also very important if we are training with our dogs, doing activities with our dogs. So what are we looking for in dogs? Some signals are very obvious. Some signals are more hidden. I've put two pictures here of two dogs that are showing some common signals that we can look at while I talk, and then I'll tell you what they are if you don't see it. There are breed differences. Some breeds will show more of some signaling than other signaling, and also individual differences, not only in what signals they use, but also in the intensity and sort of strength in the signals that they are using and how they use it. Also, if you have black dogs, it can be harder to see some signals that are in the face than like my dog, the Italian Greyhound, who has very short fur and very strong facial expressions. It's very easy to see everything that's going on with his body. He has almost no fur and he has nothing that sort of conceals what he is showing with his face and his body. But no, really, really dogs with very long fur, they will have more issues with maybe being understood, at least by us humans. Other dogs will understand them better because they, like I said, they see more frames per second, and they're also much more used to reading each other's language since it's their language, right? So you will also discover that the more you give your dog autonomy and self-determination in the life of the dog, if your dog gets to choose between two different chews, if you stop giving your dog so many commands during the day, stop talking to your dog as much on the walk, you give your dog a long loose leash on the walk and you walk slowly, and you allow your dog to be self-determined and have autonomy, then you will also notice that your dog will start using their language more. So dogs, they are born with this language, and even if they don't socialize too much with other dogs, this is something they're born with. So they know dog language, but if you sort of mess up their day too much with commands and inputs, and you decide everything, and they can't choose everything, and they don't want to do something, but you make them do it all the time, nagging, talking, then your dog will sort of shut down, not necessarily completely shut down, but they will sort of stop showing you dog signals because they have learned that you don't understand them and that you don't listen. So now when we learn more, you will start listening, you will understand more, and then the dogs are very forgiving and they will start showing you more signals. It's like, oh my God, you can understand me now. Yes. And they start putting on the show and they start displaying more clear dog signals that you can now understand and read. It's also situational. One signal can mean different things. It all depends on your dog, and you have to learn your dog's signals, your dog's signal strength, and you have to know if your dog is a prima donna. Like, if you have a dog who is, for no reason whatsoever, when he gets a little bit stressed, he starts, shaking, yawning, and tippy-toeing, and smelling the floor, sniffing on the floor. That would be typical stress signals. And in one other dog, this could mean like, oh my God, I am so stressed right now. You have to get me out of this situation. But maybe for your dog, it's just like, it's not so intense. Your dog might have other amplified signals that shows that your dog is really stressed, which is also the same with us humans if you think about it. Some of us are drama kings and queens and speak loudly and we're very dramatic and oh my God, that was awful. Whereas someone else would just say, it wasn't too great. I wasn't too happy about that situation. And I will go like, oh my God, it's the worst day I ever had. And you would say maybe, well, I've seen better. So same with dogs as with humans. We are all various degrees of drama queens and our histrionics are different. And dogs like us will show different intensity, strength on their signaling. So that's something that you need to learn about your dog. But in general, if you learn the signal, you will be able to understand other dogs as well. But you might misinterpret some dogs when it comes to like intensity, that you compare it to your dog and it might mean less or more. But it is a common signal. It is a sign of something that can be stressful for your dog, even though it might be lower or higher in intensity. So to reveal on this photo, you can see the girl in this first photo on the yellow couch is holding her arm around the dog. Dogs usually don't like to be hugged like that. That's a myth, so you can just stop doing it. You can check your dog. Hug your dog like that, overarching the back, and see what your dog does. Probably he will try to move away. He will yawn, like this dog. Lick, maybe look away, blink a little bit with his eyes, or just start licking the girl in the face or on the arm, which I can reveal now. It's not a sign of affection in this context. It would be a sign of displacement behaviors and also trying to appeasement, trying to appease the other person to make them stop doing what they're doing. If you look at my dog on the Italian Greyhound down to the right, you can see that I'm taking a photo on him. He has his left paw a little bit up in the air and he's looking to the side. So he's avoiding the camera, which is very typical. You can see so many dogs are always looking to the side when you photograph them because they are calming the camera. They are avoiding the camera because they don't like it. So he doesn't like to be taken photos of at all. So he's always looking like this on pictures. Head to the side, also no eye contact, just looking in another direction, lifting his front paw up a little bit and showing me that this is not something that I like. Which of course should mean that I should respect him enough to not take any photos of him. But this is an area that I failed completely and I've taken way too many photos of my dog that I shouldn't have taken at all. So I know I shouldn't, I just can't help myself. So I try to be, careful, and I try to be a little bit on the distance and use the zoom instead, but still I can see that it's not his favorite activity. So different calling signals, I've mentioned a few of them already. We have the play bow, the puppy move, when your dog is taking the front paws and doing this like side to side movement like they want to play, or bowing down, like being a bit submissive. It appears this is a common signal. Arching when you're on the walk, this is typical dog behavior. They never want to meet another dog face on. They always want to curve out to the side. And humans do the same. If you start thinking about it and you are now looking for it, you will notice that when you meet someone, you will try to curve a little bit. people also do not like to meet face to face or head on. We like to curve a little bit. We always try to put ourselves the furthest point away from other people in the elevator. And we never look at other people in the elevator. We always look like up or we look down or we take our phones. We try to avoid people the best we can because it's uncomfortable to have people in our space. Dogs feel the same way. It's uncomfortable to have other dogs within their space. So they try to avoid them by arching. And they also might be turning their heads, turning their bodies away, the same we do, or just walk away. But like I said, dogs don't have too much autonomy and freedom. So maybe they don't have the choice to walk away. If you have a situation, many stray dogs or free roaming dogs would have chosen to walk away, but we have them on a leash, and some of us have them on a very short leash. So they don't have an option. They have to confront the other dog, which often can lead to conflict because they are not able to use their body language to the full extent, and they might come too close, which is one reason for why dogs can start fighting, or you have no idea what's going on, and you're walking your dog on a short leash, and suddenly it's like, and your dog goes lunging on another dog. So probably you were too close, you didn't arch. The dog wasn't able to avoid the situation, and also you've been walking too close for a long time, and you've been ignoring your dog, so now he has no option but to just go at that dog, trying to remove the threat. And one way to understand that this is calming signals or distance seeking signals is that the behavior stops when the threat has passed. Because then we know that it's not like the dog is not going in for a kill, or it's not predation. It's just fear or frustration because it stops when the threat is removed. We also have, it's Norwegian, but I think you can understand. Dempende signaler, calming signals. Again, we have the lip licking. We have the sniffing quickly on the ground, which is very interesting because I didn't know this until maybe 2 years ago. And my dog actually, he does this a lot. He didn't used to do it so much, but when I stopped giving him commands and I had a longer leash, and I started noticing more and more that when we meet other dogs, he slows down. And also when he slows down, he starts arching a little bit and he stops a little bit, and then he sniffs the ground very quickly to signal to the other dog. And the dog might be 30 or 50, 60, 80 meters away, but he's signaling, he's talking to that dog, like having a conversation, sniffing the ground, telling the other dog that, oh, I'm just trying to calm the situation. I am a friend. I mean you no harm. This is a little bit uncomfortable. And usually when I see this behavior, I try to arch, huge arch around this other dog. And then he can show me if he wants to go closer up, then he can do it. But I try to give him space. Splitting is also something that dogs do. A lot of the times when you have two dogs playing and you have a third dog that sort of comes in the middle, and everybody says, typically on Instagram, everybody would say, oh, this third dog was jealous and wanted to play with the two other dogs. That's usually not what's going on. It's a third dog thinking that the two other dogs are playing too wild, they are too intense, and the third dog is coming in to split and get that behavior to stop before it escalates. Because again, dogs, peacekeepers, don't want any escalation. So a third dog is coming in to split up that. It's like you split up kids when they play too wild. It's like, come on, stop it, stop that behavior. Lifting paw, like I said, my belly was flowing on the other slide. I have some typos here. Sorry about that. Walking slowly is a way to show that you are a friend and that you have no ill intentions. Also showing a puppy face and smiling like some dogs do. It's a typical behavior. Show belly up is also something that we misinterpret. Many people would call it submission. It's like, oh, you're the alpha pack leader. Look, your dog is belly up. Oh, he's being submissive. It's a common signal, and it's also the dog is quite scared at this point, or quite uncomfortable, I would say, when the belly is up. And you can look at the paws are not straight up in the air or relaxed. It's like very stiff, and one of the paws is like this. Then it's not, so your dog is not having a good time. You should remove your dog from that situation, or stop whatever you're doing to cause the dog to be like that. Urinate. It's also something some dogs can do as a calming signal. When you meet other dogs on the walk, suddenly your dog will go out to the side and pee a little bit. Or, of course, if your dog is terrified, that is also a sign of intense fear. If the dog is soiling himself, but those are two very different things. Urinating on a walk, trying to calm another dog and calm yourself down, looks very different from a dog who's terrified soiling himself. And then we have the whale eyes, where you can see, if you look at the photo that's to the right under the walk slow box with the tongue out, you can see the white in that dog's eyes. That's what we mean with whale eyes, when you can see the white in the dog's eyes. And also blinking is a sign of discomfort. So that's a lot of calming signals that you can look for. And your dog will do it all the time. So let's try to learn something from our new knowledge we are acquiring at this point. Let's look at the first picture here. We have two dogs. One seems to be sort of sticking his tongue out at the other dog. It's supposed to be a very funny picture, but what's really going on here, of course, is the dog is about to do a lip lick, but the photo was taken in the exact right moment, and the other dog is turning its head, looking to the other side, trying to avoid and trying to de-escalate the situation and trying to not cause a scene so that there won't be any fights or conflicts between these two dogs. Also, body positioning of the dog to the left is a little bit leaning away, whereas the dog to the right has the ears back, like narrow eyes. It could be just that the photo was taken in that exact moment, and also the licking that's going on. So this is, I wouldn't say this was becoming dangerous, but this is clearly two dogs a bit uncomfortable, and they're trying to calm each other down and calm themselves. The middle dog does exactly what I was just talking about. When you're on your back and you are not like comfortable, oh, come on, cuddle me. But it's very uncomfortable and the dog wants to get out. I can see the dog, not the front dog, but the dog that is next to these people's faces has whale eyes, ears back, staring, the mouth is tightened, and one of the paws, the front paws, are very stiff, like this. So this dog just wants to get the heck away from that situation. And the same with the other dogs that almost being strangled by this human hug situation going on. You can see the dog is about to get up and leave the couch, which is walking away, because that dog, of course, is also very uncomfortable with what's going on here. So had I been in that situation and been one of those humans, it probably wouldn't have gotten to this point, but still, should I have been not too conscious and getting to this point, I would immediately recognize that, oh my God, my dog is just trying to get away from here, and release the dog immediately and let the dog get out. If they would hold on long enough and the dog had no choice and this had been going on for a very long time, or the dog suddenly got startled in this situation, you could have a situation where the dog would bite you, probably in the face. Not because it wanted to, but dogs have very good self-control, but because the stress was way too high, and then maybe added a sound or something that scared the dog, and it would just lash out. That's we call a rebound behavior. That's what we call redirected aggression. Sorry, not rebound. Redirected aggression, where the dog would just get startled and just bite the nearest thing, which would be your face. So we should be careful. So many dog bites happen because people can't read their dogs, and especially allow dogs near children that are very small. They have the size of, if a dog opens their mouth, it's about the size of the head of a child. And you have the wrong situation, the child is all over the dog, doing all sorts of things they shouldn't be doing to a dog, and the dog gets startled, or the dog gets stepped on the tail, or gets pain, or something happens. The child does something crazy to the dog. The dog will just react. It's not a red zone dog. It's not an aggressive dog. It's just a behavior that happens. Like if you startled me, I would go like this, wah! And I would maybe hit you in the face because I got startled, and my hand would slap you in the face. Dogs do the same. They would sort of just snap and bite the nearest thing out of fear, or because they got startled and afraid, and then dog would maybe be put down for aggressive behaviors, which is very, very sad, but unfortunately also very common. me and Fallon on the right here. You can compare that to the middle photo and see that the dog, my dog here, is completely in a very different state of mind. He is relaxing, he's leaning his head on me, his ears are a bit floppy to the degree that Italian Greyhound's ears can be floppy. And he's just calming, having a calm moment. I think he's actually snoozing on this photo. I think he was sleeping or about to be sleeping. And so this looks very different from what we see in the middle photo here. So there are a lot of signs, guys, that we can look for. This is a video of calming signals on the walk. I think I'm going to skip it just because the video signal is a bit bad and it will be very choppy. So it's just showing some, I mean, we can try, but I think it's going to be very choppy. It's showing some, okay, it wasn't too bad. So it's showing some sniffing on the ground quickly, short steps. There's another dog in the distance, sniffing the ground again, trying to communicate. Now he's arching, he's crossing the road, arching a bit, and he is tiptoeing, walking a bit faster. And then he's tail wagging, but it's not like crazy helicopter tails. It's like a bit like careful. It's like, oh, look, friend, he's looking at me. And his ears are up and he's standing still and he's just like looking at the other dog and giving it some time. So stopping is also something that you would do with another dog, which is very useful for dogs to sort of signal something to the other dog. So you could see quite a lot of calming signals here. There was sniffing on the ground several times, and if you'd seen him from the front, you would have also seen like he was turning his head a little bit, he was arching, his tail was sort of wagging a bit cautiously, like, I am a friend, no harm will come to you. This is typical, like, calming tail wagging. So here's another dog in slow motion, where you can see a lot of what I said about black dogs, but this is actually very good. You can see a lot of the things going on in the face because it's slow motion. So we will look at this as well. Hang out a bit, staring, a bit worried in the eyes, blinking slightly, looking, panting ever so slightly, turning head, yawning a little bit there, lip licking, and then moving away. So, and this isn't really subtle. It could be way more subtle, and any other dog would get it, but it would be harder for us to understand. So, calming signals, are they stress signals? Some people are saying that it's the same thing. Some people are saying that there are different signs that are calming and different signs that are stressing. I would say that to a large degree, they are the same thing because it's a signal that your dog is a little bit stressed or a lot stressed. And as I said before, it can vary in intensity. And the intensity is sort of what decides whether or not it is fear and borderline, distance seeking and peer aggression escalating that you really have to get down quickly, or if it's more of a calming, like I'm trying to avoid stress. I know I will be stressed. I'm feeling slightly stressed. So fast breathing, then it's too far gone. If your dog starts breathing fast and it's not hot outside, you should really try to get out of the situation and remove the thing that your dog is worried about. Hair loss and shedding. My dog does this a lot when we are at the vet. He doesn't really shred fur at all. But when we are at the vet, he is losing a lot of hair on the table, on the examination table. He just drops the hair, and in the car as well. Dandruff can be a sign that you can look for just in general in everyday life. Also has to do, of course, with nutrition, guys. Like I said in the beginning, so if your dog has dandruff, then really take a look at nutrition or stress in your dog's life. Digging can be sort of displacement behavior, where your dog is trying to calm himself down, just digging, I need something else to do. I have to do something. I'm uncomfortable. I have to do something else. Pumping, of course, is a clear sign of stress or over-arousal, over-excitement, which isn't necessarily fear, but maybe you took a long walk with your dog too long. Maybe you were throwing balls and frisbees for an hour. and your dog is clearly over-aroused, overexcited, it's way too much. You should never do that for such a long time. It's not good, guys, for your dogs. So your dog is humping when you get back. So the humping will tell you that your dog is overexcited and aroused and stressed and tries to calm himself down. Loose stool, of course, is a sign of stress. Maybe not just if it's one event or something that's happened a few times. That might be more if it's more of a moving on towards a chronic stress situation and your dog is under a lot of strain in his life for a period of time, then the stool will also start to change. Also, nutrition, guys. So look at nutrition again. If your dog has consistent, very poor quality poop, tight muscles, body is also, stressing up. It's just like us. When we're stressed at work, we get tight shoulders and we get trigger points and everything is like, oh, you're sore all over the place. Dogs are just the same. Dilated pupils sometimes can be hard to detect because you're not really staring at your dog, which of course you shouldn't be. So if you're not looking at your dog's eyes directly, it can be, of course, hard to see if they have dilated pupils or not, but that's also a sign of stress that we can look for if we have the opportunity. So there we go. This dog is really not having a good time. And you can see the person is well-meaning, thinking that, oh, we're having a cuddle session. It's so nice. I'm cuddling my dog. And oh, my dog just loves when I cuddle. But there's a lot of things going on here. You see the paws, like I explained before. It's not comfortably relaxed up in the air, like, oh, like golden retriever paws, like, give me a belly rub. This is like, oh, I am tense. I have the paw up. It's nothing relaxed about it. You see the whale eyes, the whitened eyes. You can see the face is very tense. The dog is actually, nipping the person on the finger, which is appeasement, just nibbling a bit, maybe trying to get the person to get away. And this is very typical also if this is something that will continue for, a day, a week, a month on end, combined with a lot of other behaviors that will let the dog getting more and more stressed and nobody's listening to what the dog is trying to say, the dog has no choice but to start to escalate, which means the dog will go from calming signals to, the yellow block I showed you in the beginning to the red. And in the end, a dog will have to bite. The dog will have to snarl and growl. And in the end, the dog will have to bite. And then we will say, I have no idea. My dog is so aggressive. He just bit me out of the blue. I have no idea why it happened. But of course, there's a reason. Dogs are peace-seeking animals. They do not want to bite. That's the last thing they want to do. So there's a reason, guys. It doesn't just happen in a vacuum. When calming signals doesn't work and dogs have to escalate, like I just said, they will move into slightly different signals. Some of them are the same. Something is about intensity, but some signals are different, like raised hackles or fiddling about. That could be something, what's in the middle, like what I said about the harness. If the dog can start fiddling, like, oh, doing play dolls, going into the living room, running around in circles a little bit, oh, being very goofy. Carry things with their mouths. This also can be calming signals. My dog does it when he has been a bit too excited or he's unsure about something that's going to happen or if something is going to happen. Then he takes the toy and he carries around a bit in his mouth and he jumps onto the couch where I am and he puts the toy down next to me and he sort of lies on the toy. And it could look like, oh, he's giving me a toy, he's so sweet, or he wants to play with me, but he doesn't want to play with me, and he doesn't want to give me a toy. He's carrying the toy around because he's a bit stressed. Stiff body and tail, same thing, growling, like I just said, lunging, then we are borderline. Now you don't have much time left before your dog is going to bite. And I'm not saying time like in seconds, but maybe days or a few walks away. Now the dog is really like, oh, I need to get out of this situation. Lunging can also be a learned behavior. The dog just learns that if I lunge, we will go in another direction and I don't have to deal with that situation. So it doesn't mean that the dog will necessarily bite, but it's a sign that your dog is clearly over threshold and is not happy with the situation. Baring teeth, showing teeth, like snarling like this, not great. get everybody out of the way, especially if there's children or if your face or your arm is nearby, then just, or another dog, of course, then you really have to take it seriously. You have to try to de-escalate and to give your dog space and take your dog away from this very uncomfortable situation. Air snapping, it's not charming, it's not nice, it's not funny, it's very distressing. Some dogs do it to self-soothe or to self-stimulate, like some border collies, if they don't have a job, they can start air snapping. It can also be a sign of something neurological going on in the dog's brain. Then you, of course, if you have questions about that, you will talk to your vet and see if something else is going on. But it can just also be a behavioral sign that your dog is really, really stressed and just trying to, get this frustration out without doing harm to anyone, or as a warning sign also. Depends a bit again on the intensity, on the context, but I would really try to notice if your dog is, and doing a combination of these signs, like growling, baring teeth, and ear snapping, and lunging. Then it's like, your dog is not happy with you. You are not understanding your dog at the moment. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to be cruel, because I have not always known about this. I've done so many mistakes with my dog. You wouldn't know how many stupid mistakes I've done with dogs in my life. But like we always say, when you know better, you do better. And now when we learn this, we will know better. And then we have the opportunity to do better and to try to understand our dogs better and help them to have a more relaxed and peaceful and de-stressed life, right? Snarling also, same thing, not good at all. As I said before, the last one, dilated pupils, and maybe if you're sort of always hacking and looking in every direction all the time, that is stress, and that is also fearful behaviors. So, yeah. And this might happen, over time, or it might happen in just one session, depending again on the situation. But very often you see that your dog has been sort of not misunderstood and ignored for maybe days or weeks or months or whatever it is, and finally the dog just starts screaming. It's like the equivalent of humans trying to say something to their partners in a calm voice, and the partner is not responding, and they try to raise their voice a little bit, and your partner is still not listening, and in the end you get so frustrated and you get so angry that you just you're not listening to me, and you just start screaming at that other person, even though you don't want to scream, you don't like to scream, it's not who you are, but it's like, it's the last resort. That's what it is. So what should you do when you see calming signals or distance-seeking signals? Like I said, you should give space, you arch with your dog, and try to avoid situations where you see clearly that your dog doesn't like what's going on. Reduce stress in other areas of your dog's life as well, like removing things that it's hurtful for dogs in the home, like having rugs around so your dogs are not slipping and sliding all over the place. So your dog doesn't pain. Do something about the nutrition. Is your dog sleeping enough? There's a lot of areas where you can reduce stress and do prevention work that can also spill over to walks and other areas where your dog is stressed. And learning to read your dog's threshold, like I said earlier, that is very different from dog to dog, from breed to breed. What's the dog's threshold, or what type of signals they are just showing? If they are, one dog might be showing the same signals as another, and one of the dogs is terrified, and the other dog is just, I didn't like it. Like me, I can start yelling at people like really quickly, and then I calm down really quickly. Whereas other people that I know, I don't think they've ever yelled in their entire lives. But it kind of means the same thing, because I'm not really that angry. It's just, I'm a screamer. I'm like, I get very excited very quickly. Although inside, I'm not really that angry. It's just my style. Whereas another person can be a bit intense and talking clenched between the teeth, and maybe be a bit aggressive, and maybe feel the exact way that I am inside. We are just displaying two different levels, but it's the same. Yeah. Sit down and give space. That's a very important thing you can do for your dog. If your dog is stressed, if you're walking around the house and or you are standing up and talking to people, you have guests at the house and you're walking around and standing, or you're outside talking, standing, sit down. That will help your dog calm down more quickly. And moving away from the situation. And of course, again, I am repeating myself, but it's very important. Stop doing things your dog doesn't really like. If you have to do them, then try to see, can you shelter your dog from it? Can you have a dog somewhere else? Can you not do it with your dog in front of your dog if something is triggering? If it is, of course, something that is happening on the walk, then can you walk somewhere else? Can you walk at another time? Can you give more distance when you are walking? Or a lot of things you can do to improve your dog's situation if there's something that you really have to do, but you can do it differently. You can just be creative. And then, now we are nearing the end here. Should we imitate dogs' language? You see a lot of, again, Instagram, Facebook, a lot of dogs having a lot of fun imitating their dogs when they're barking or they're howling with their huskies, or they're doing sort of all sorts of dog behavior, or like Cesar Milan in the old days when he was sort of doing this posturing, really like a more aggressive, threatening type of dog behavior, asserting dominance and all those things. Like, should we do things like that? And as a main rule, the answer is no, because it's not our mother tongue. We are not fluent enough. So some of the signals are okay, and I can see again, I am thinking that you are Norwegians. It says defer from, don't use their signals, but some of them are okay. Like yawning, stirring your hand in grass or leaves. You can just use your hand, sit down or kneel down, and you can just do a bit like stirring or moving your hand around in the grass, or moving some leaves, or just looking on the ground. And that will be kind of the equivalent to a dog sniffing quickly on the ground when he's calming himself and the other dog down when they talk. So like my dog did on the video before. So that would be kind of like that. Play bow is okay. You can sort of play bow and do some play movements with your dog. They will understand. That's okay. And if they don't, it's not really that big of a deal. But some you should avoid, like staring, like having a staring costume, staring at your dog, really looking at your dog intensely, or doing the look at me, look at me, look at me on the walk. Many people do that. They have their dogs heeling on their side, and they're also like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and having their dogs look all the time. Looking directly at other dogs is very rude for dogs. It's also a threat. It can be an invitation to a conflict or even a fight if you are staring directly at a dog. So please don't do it. Dogs find it very uncomfortable at best, and in worst cases, they will take it as an invitation to a fight or a conflict, or that you are threatening them. So we don't want to threaten our dogs. Also, posing, like I said, Cesar Milan or something like that. You see maybe there's like me or some guys that have big dogs on Instagram, and they try to sort of move their dogs with their bodies, and they're like chest out and staring at them. It's like looking strict and moving their dogs away with this body positioning. Something that also should be avoided. It's very uncomfortable for dogs. It's threatening, and you don't really know the extent of what you're actually saying or doing. And it also could cause your dog to, of course, stop trusting you and don't see you as a place of comfort and trust and calm. And your dog could be, want to avoid you. There are many owners that have dogs that don't really like them, or they don't trust them and try to avoid them. And I would say if you have a dog, and I think what we all want is to have a close relationship with our dogs. And if we are threatening them and using body posturing to sort of be the alpha, be the boss, and moving them away and being threatening and big, it's like, why should our dogs hang out with us? Of course they will try to avoid us or go somewhere else in the living room, or cowering and move away. It's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't like you. So do we want dogs to like us? Of course we do. So don't be a jerk, right? Whining, growling, barking at dogs. Dogs have so many different types of bark. At least there are at least like 6 different types of bark in general, and even more subclasses of that. And if you're just barking like woof, 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 it's like, you have no idea. and you don't know if you are speaking their type of bark. Do they understand exactly? Do they understand at all? Or do they just think you're strange? At the very least, you are coming across as unpredictable and stupid. And worst case scenario, you are saying something that's really bad. No, you don't know. You don't know. So context. I've talked a little bit about this before, how one dog can have one signal, another dog can have the same signal, and it means different things. A dog shaking off, for instance, it's a calming signal for many dogs to shake off. Some dogs can, of course, shake off because they're wet. It doesn't have to mean that they're calming themselves down or they're stressed, or it can be discomfort. It can be they had a tick on them that we didn't see. You know, there are many reasons. So we can't always say, oh, my dog's shaking off. Oh, he was stressed. He was worried. You have to look at the entire situation. A dog licking you in the face is showing devotion, or is it? Like I mentioned with the girl on the couch, and that the dog would maybe be licking the girl on the arm or licking in the face, then it's very likely that your dog is actually showing appeasement and trying to get you to stop the behavior, not showing devotion or that they love you. Again, it's contextual, situational. You have to look at the entire dog, the overall appearance and feel of the dog, and you have to know your dog and you have to see the situation. I know many occasions where I've been just stroking my dog on the back or doing something and he starts licking my forearm. It's like, oh, okay, sorry, I won't do that again. Because clearly there's no other reason why he would be doing that. It's not because he's not that type of dog. My dog is not a lick you in the face dog. So whenever he does it, it's not that often because I try to not do things that is annoying for him. But when I do, and he starts licking my arm on my face, I back off immediately. Because for my dog, that's a sign that he is not liking what I'm doing and he is really, really asking to stop what I'm doing. And again, dog lying on the back. This is the dog really playful and want cuddles, or is the dog very stressed and just hoping that you will go away quickly? Contextual, and you have to know your dog and know the situation. But I always also say that if you don't know, then just stop. If you are in doubt, then don't just do it. If you're not sure, does my dog want to play or does my dog want me to leave the room? Then, you know, just stop what you're doing and leave the room, or you know, get out of the dog's space. The worst thing that can happen is that the dog wanted to play and you didn't play. That's better than the dog is really stressed and wants to get away and you continue, right? It's the lesser evil, right? So know your dog. It all depends, which might not be that helpful. But when we have gone through this list now of all the different signals, and you can look at everything, you can put everything together, the mouth, the eyes, the ears, the body posture, is low head, is the head up, is the tail stiff, is the body stiff, what's the paws doing? Is one lifted? Is the dog head to the side, smacking lips, or, you know, very tight lips, or yawning, or, you know, and the obvious signs, it's quite obvious what's going on. So you don't really have to have context if a dog is, you know, lunging, snarling, growling, or, you know, showing teeth. Then you don't really need much of a context because those are very clear distance-seeking signals. So it's more for the subtle ones that you have to look at the context. And in that case, if in doubt, you stop. Better safe than sorry, right? So I am not going to go through these videos as for the same reason. Again, I can try, but I think it's not that great. Here you can see some rough dog play, and the dogs are also growling, but it's muted, and I can't really unmute it. I don't think you can hear it, even if I unmute it. But the dogs are, you know, they are growling a bit. This is play, and they are taking turns. They're on and off. And they are so respectful, moving away, shaking a bit, lip licking, and they go at it again, and then they stop. So this is respectful. This is good play. And if you see this video, if we can't get it done, you can see this is more stress. This is my dog. And had I known now, then what I know now, I would have removed my dog from the situation straight away. Because my dog, the little Italian Greyhound, it's a little bit okay. They stand with the sides and they move away, but my dog is humping. He is socially uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to do. and he's a bit stiff, and he just tries to get the dog away, tries to be humping. The size, of course, is an issue here. And then the third dog comes, and the black big dog is sort of splitting and getting the dog away. Could look like play, but it's not. And then they're standing with their sides turned to each other, and this little brown dog here is moving in. My dog is T-boned, and now he is telling the other dog he's very rude because he's coming directly at them, just walking in a straight line, looking at them, and now he is a bit unsure. You know, there's a lot of things going on in that video. But if someone asked me which dogs I would break up, I would, of course, break up the last video, not the first one, even if that looks way more intense and has a lot of growling and barking. It's like, that's a good play. But the other video is way too intense. It's socially awkward, it's humping, and it's stressful, and it's stiff bodies and dogs that don't really know what to do. So I would stop the second one, and I would enjoy the first one. So, sum it up, guys. Dogs have calming and distance-seeking signals, and they use it in communication to avoid stress, discomfort, pain, conflict, and de-escalate. It's very important. Again, context is everything, and we have to look at the entire dog situation, and that's very important for how we can communicate and interact with our dogs. When in doubt, move away. If you spend time observing and learning this, and also observe other dogs as much as you can, you will be very good at it, and that will be very helpful for your dog to resolve conflicts, to be not in distress or be comfortable, not having situations that will ever escalate or become aggressive in any way, and it will give your dog a long and happy, de-stressed life, and a better everyday life for both dogs and humans. So, thank you for listening, guys. On the last slide here, this is how you can reach me. I'm either walking around somewhere with my dog. I have a website, I have Instagram and Facebook. I also have an email address. You can post me messages on Insta or Facebook, or you can also, the best thing, reach me is just email me on my Norwegian dog trainer at rolehund.no email, or you can just go directly to my webpage and book a session with me if you like. So thank you for the attention, and good luck with your observations of dogs' calming signals, and enjoy your togetherness with your dog and see them thrive.